Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 9 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thanks so much for joining me again today. This week's topic, it actually hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was like, I cannot believe I've got to episode 9 without talking about this subject. Because to be honest, it's almost one of the first things that I talk about to any audience that I'm speaking to about social media and marketing. It is, of course, list building. I believe it's the foundation for any business's success and big growth. So if you're spending more time on social media than you are developing email campaigns for your database, for your fans on your database, then I think you are leaving money on the table. Email marketing isn't as glamorous or as sexy or as exciting as social media, but it has been around a hell of a lot longer, and it actually meets one of those most important aspects of customer relationships: humans interacting with humans. Social media is really great for meeting new customers, but it doesn't create that nurturing, sustainable relationship like email marketing can. So my question to you today is, do you have an email list? Is it something that you practice every day, building that list? And quite frankly, if it's not, then I'm here to tell you to put a stake in the ground and tell you that it just should be. Whether you have a retail business or a service-based business, list building should be one of your top priorities. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. But first, of course, we have Discovery of the Week. I think I need some intro music for Discovery of the Week time. Anyway, this week's discovery is a tool I use all the time, and I mean literally all the time. And I thought that everyone knew about this tool, but I was talking to a friend the other day and he just looked at me blankly. He'd never heard of it, and I was really surprised. And it was a great little reminder that sometimes we should never underestimate what we know that others need to know. The tool was my snipping tool on my computer. I have a Windows-based laptop, but I do believe that Macs have something similar. So the snipping tool, it's something that I use like 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, and I just love it. If you go to your search bar on your computer and start typing in snipping tool, it'll come up. You can snip absolutely anything. If you are the type of person who is online or reading something on your computer and you think, I should take a screenshot of this, then that is exactly what the snipping tool is for. Many of you probably already use it, but if you don't and you never knew it existed, then I'm pretty sure we just became best friends, because you are going to love it. It is like one of those things that you cannot live without once you know it exists. So once you snip something, you can just save it and use it or remember it, whatever you need to do. It's little magic things like this that make running your business just that wee bit simpler. So go search it. Have a look. You can thank me for it later. Remember, if you actually have a discovery that you'd like me to share with my audience, please tag me on social media or send me an email, jen@jendonovan.com.au. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what your little discovery is that my audience could use to make their business life a little bit simpler. Now, On to today's topic, list building and why it's so gosh darn important. I have seen firsthand, I kid you not, how much money a well-engaged list can bring into a business. Whether you are a retail business or a service-based business, list building needs to be your priority. The second priority, of course, needs to be talk to that list, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. So often, and almost too often, we hear experts out there talking about ways to grow our following and get more likes and make more LinkedIn connections and all of that. But there's not enough people out there talking about list building. You see, the reason why I think list building is so important is we don't own our followings on social. We don't own our likes, and we don't own our connections online. You don't own that platform. You are at the mercy of someone else that you've never ever met before. And that is possibly the reason why you went into business in the first place, is because you didn't want to be at the mercy of others. And yet here we are at the mercy of someone else by using their platform to engage with our clients. Algorithms change overnight. I know I don't need to tell you that. You've probably experienced an algorithm change in your business. Algorithms change overnight, and boom, all of a sudden we cannot reach the same amount of people that we did yesterday. Or worse still, our account could get shut down. Now you might be thinking, I don't think my account would ever get shut down, but I can tell you that you just never ever know. I was in Melbourne last year talking at a retail expo to a group of small business owners about list buildings, and this lady stood up. It was almost like I planted her in the audience, but I promise you I did not. And she shared her story about how her social media was shut down overnight. No questions asked, absolutely no one to argue with. It was just gone. 10,000 engaged followers gone. Just let that sink in, my little small business peeps. What would your marketing look like if you lost your social? I'm pausing for effect here. What would it look like? This poor lady has done what so many of us do, and what I would recommend as a coach somewhat too. Take a topical newsworthy story and adopt it as content into your social media. And she had done that to help engage her audience. What she'd actually spoken about was the World Cup soccer. She'd put and out there to her loyal audience, who do you think will win? Now, I can't remember who was actually in the World Cup final in Russia last year. And for those who know me, will be impressed that I actually know the World Cup was in Russia. But basically, her post was like, do you think England will win? Or do you think France will win? Now, I can't say for sure whether she was dobbed in or whether the algorithms picked it up through her account. But she was shut down overnight. No recourse, no discussion, just gone. They shut her down because they said she was inciting gambling. Now, it might seem a little bit obvious in hindsight, because hindsight, she's a wonderful little creature, isn't she? But to my audience member who was sharing her story, she thought it was no different to like people who have, do you like dress A or do you like dress B? But it was different. It was vastly different, and it cost her dearly. She was totally destroyed, and I think we all would be if our social media platforms were shut down overnight. She'd never concentrated on list building, but she'd stood up to share her story to tell everyone, listen to Jen. Jen knows what she's talking about. You must make list building a priority in your business, and my story is why. So the lesson is, let's not wait until that's you. Let's start putting some time and some energy into list building now, before it's too late. Businesses that I've owned and businesses that I've worked in with engaged lists sell more, whether it be a product that you're trying to sell, or whether it's a ticketed event or an online program or course, your list is 15 times more likely to buy from you than a social media follower. That's a pretty big stat, guys. 15 times more likely to buy from you than a social media follower. But the biggest positive is that you own your own database. once your customers are on that list, they cannot be taken away unless, of course, they unsubscribe or they change jobs or they change their email addresses. But in a nutshell, you don't have control over your social media. The platform can change overnight and there's not a single goddamn thing that you can do about it. But if you have your own database, it's like building a fence around that tribe that you have spent so much time and energy building. I really hope I've convinced you that you need to start spending some time here, building your list, taking your tribe from online to offline. So the next obvious question is, well, how do I get fans to go from online to offline? And I guess if that's our goal, and if our goal is to build our list because the money is in the list, I guarantee you the money is in the list, then you need to get people to part with their email address. And that is tough goings these days. I will absolutely admit that. People hold their email address tightly to their chest. And if they don't, then sometimes it's probably an email address that they'll never read anyway, like a Gmail account that's where they send all the stuff that they don't really want to read. But somehow you need to get your trusted online fans to come offline. Now, there are lots and lots of ways, guys, to get your online fans to go offline. But I'm going to give you 3 today. 3 tried, 3 tested, and 3 trusted ways that I have used and I encourage my clients to use as well. The first one is to have a simple opt-in form that your traffic that you generate will actually see. So this can be as simple as having an opt-in option on your website or even on your blog or in your email signature, somewhere where they can opt in to get your updates. And your updates might be your weekly newsletter, or maybe you have a newsletter that goes out fortnightly. Maybe it's an introduction to your blog, whatever that looks like, whatever the updates are. In my retail store which was a kitchenware store, every week we send out recipes and cooking tips for our list. We engaged them. They worked remarkably well. People were always waiting to see what the next recipe was and the cooking tips. People were like, oh my God, I never knew that. It was awesome. I can guarantee you people looked forward to my weekly emails. If you have an opt-in form, make sure it's not buried somewhere like in a sidebar or at the bottom of your post. Don't be afraid to get bold with it. Get it out there. Put it in front of your traffic that you've actually spent time and energy generating. Don't let them miss it. Don't afraid to get a little bit bold. Maybe it'll be a header on your blog or a pop-up on your website or in your email signature, like I said. Make sure it's in your Instagram bio. Maybe it's an invitation on your Facebook. Maybe it's a giveaway. Or maybe even it's an exit pop-up on your website. Those just as you're about to exit a page, boom, up pops a pop-up that says, hey, just before you leave, would you like to have a look at this? That's an exit pop-up. The second thing that you can do to try and generate some leads from online to offline is run a competition. Competitions can be one of the quickest and easiest ways to grow your email list. You've just got to make sure that you are growing it with qualified people who not only want the prize, but want to communicate with you too. Yes, there might be a cost involved for the prize, but collecting the right leads intentionally should drive more profits into your business and will help grow your following the right and quick way. Just a little pro tip. If you're running a competition or a contest, create a specific opt-in for that contest. Don't make it hard for your audience to know what to do next. Have a specific link, maybe a specific landing page for them that they go to opt in. The easier it is, the more people you will get opting in. I guarantee you. Just on a side note, though, with running competitions and contests, guys, whether it's on Facebook or wherever it might be, check the rules. Facebook has really specific rules and regulations if you are running competitions. And also you need to check out your state laws. So for my Australian audiences, If you take, for example, New South Wales, you need a permit to run a competition, whether it's online or offline. Whereas in Victoria, you only need to have a permit if it is, if the prize is worth more than $2,500. So always make sure that you are checking the rules and regulations if you're running a contest or a competition. Again, we don't want our account shut down because we didn't check the rules. The third way is creating a freebie, a download, or a guide. Create something of value that your ideal audience will be interested in enough for you to capture their name and their email address. Giving away free, valuable content is the number one way I grow my email list. It absolutely, hands down, is the number one way I grow my email list. And it also gives me some intel into what people are looking for and the problems that I can solve for them. Your downloads don't need to be super pretty. They don't need to be professionally designed or overthought. You just need to deliver value, good content, and do it in a really clear way. My biggest goal, once people have downloaded something, is that they take it away and start implementing it. Because if they see results from something I've given away for free, they're more likely to come back into my world and be raving fans. If you're interested in seeing a bit of a process in play, feel free to go to my website, socialmediaandmarketing.com.au, and see my little opt-in at the top to download my 108 social media content creation ideas. It's absolutely the best lead magnet I have ever made. It has been downloaded thousands of times. Because remember, guys, sometimes the learning is in the download, in the valuable content that you get, but sometimes the learning is actually in the process and watching how someone else does something that you want to do inside your business. So whether you're interested in the process or whether you're actually interested in getting 108 social media content creation ideas, so maybe go and sign up on my homepage and watch the process, or just enjoy 108 social media content creation ideas. There is a series of emails that follow it. Again, watch the process. Have a look how it plays out. So once you've downloaded it and once you've had a look at the process and the emails that follow, maybe start brainstorming your own. What lead magnet can you do? What freebie can you give away to your audience to capture their name and their email address? Don't overthink it though. Start with the biggest problem you solve for your audience and go there. And if you do spend time building your list, don't think you're getting off the hook with this. So don't be thinking, I already build my list, tick. No, there's always more that can be done. There is always next level list building. How can you grow your list better? How can you attract better or more qualified people to your list? How can you serve them even better? If you have a lead magnet, what's your next one? Because I can guarantee you one lead magnet is not enough. Really, over the time that you build your business, you should have probably lots and lots of them. I think inside my business at the moment, I have around 50 or 60. I don't use them all the time, but they're sitting there. I've created them, I've used them once, and I will repurpose them when the time is right. You need 3 or 4 fabulous ones as time moves on, and then a few good ones. You don't need to create them all at once, guys. Do not be overwhelmed with what I'm saying. But over time, be willing to invest in lead magnet creation. As always, my small business peeps, there's always next level stuff that can be done, even if you've already got yourself a list. So before I finish up on this episode of the Small Business Made Simple podcast, I really hope I've convinced you to start list building. And if you already do it, I hope that I've encouraged you to think of next level. What's next? How can you be even better at list building? Just to recap though, the reason why I think that you should be list building is that you don't own your social followers. You don't own the platforms whereas list building is like putting a fence around your tribe. 3 ways you can start taking your online fans offline are having a simple opt-in form that the traffic that you've created will see. You can run a competition or a contest to get people who are interested to enter, or you can create a freebie, a download, or a guide. List building is such an important part of small business these days, and I'm actually in the process of building an online course to help you build your list. If you're interested in list building, you can go to socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/courses and register your interest for the online course, which is due for release about May in this year. So just before I go, guys, I just wanted to share this one last thing with you. At the end of every live workshop I do, I talk about the 72-hour rule. What are you going to do in the next 72 hours to move you closer towards your goal? So I thought I'd start enacting the 72-hour rule for my podcast family as well. So what are you going to do? What are you going to commit to doing in the next 72 hours to help with your list building? Write it down. Find someone to keep you accountable. If you have no one to keep you accountable, hashtag me in Small Business Made Simple and I will keep you accountable. Now, accountability, that's actually a subject for a whole new podcast. But of course, I will be back next Thursday with some more marketing know-how and another little discovery. As always, guys, if you're liking this podcast, I'd be eternally grateful if you would head over to wherever you are listening and leave me a rating and even perhaps a review. I read them all and I absolutely love them. Thank you so much to everyone who's taken the time to leave a review and a rating. Leaving reviews and ratings help other people find this podcast too, and it might just be the best gift you ever give them. I'm eternally grateful that you're a part of my world, for listening in every week. But of course, I'd love to catch up between podcasts, so maybe we could get social on social. All the links are in my show notes. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to drop in to my DMs on Instagram. DMs seriously make my day. Anyway, guys, I will catch you next week. Happy list building. And remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.